Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Branching Out with Alec and Brea. We have a guest today that is from maybe a sector of the industry that doesn't get enough recognition, and we're hoping to shine a little bit more light on the day-to-day workings of the industry and maybe ask some questions about some products. Oh, that was bad. Questions about products. This is a mess, Brea. This is a mess. Mitchell is going to be our guest today, and he got a start in construction and building materials while in high school, gaining early hands-on experience that led him to landscaping, where he found he enjoyed both the physical and team environment. While completing his undergraduate degree at the University of Alberta, Keith worked full-time during summers and spring seasons with Paradise Outdoor Landscaping, White Mud Landscaping, and eventually the Jansen Group, quickly moving from crew roles to team lead and foreman, while gaining experience across both field operations and project management. After graduating, he transitioned to a hybrid field and office role, pursuing an MBA at the University of Calgary and balanced work with school. He held leadership positions at Southwest Greens Western Canada, overseeing turf installs and sales across Western Canada. For the past 3 years, Keith has served as the general manager of Edmonton Landscape Center, focusing on the supply side of the industry while leveraging his field experience and business background to support contractors and grow the landscaping community. So let's invite him on here and we'll have a wonderful conversation. Awesome. Thank you, Keith, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, we're going to jump right ahead into some of these questions here. Brea, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. So, Keith, you've worked in a few different facets of the industry, both residential construction, artificial turf, landscape supply. How did you stumble into the industry? What got you started?
Yeah, stumble is definitely the correct word. Like probably most of us, I started in high school just as a way to pay for life, and then continued it on through university. And that just kept progressing. I thought when I finished my undergrad, I'd jump out, go to something in my field, started applying places and doing interviews, and the starting wages in those fields, which were mainly research-based, were basically what I made in the summer. So decided I'll probably just stick with this landscaping company that's offering me a salary job that's way higher with way more time off, and just continued on through that, and then just kept trying to get out of the industry. As I was trying to, I'd get an offer from somebody else that was just drastically higher than every other industry that would potentially have me. Eventually, I herniated a disc doing like a really long patio lay. Decided it was probably at that point time to leave the industry again. So I took a job in doing fleet services, parts for off-road vehicles and whatnot, and did that for a little bit. And while I was doing that, studied for the GMAT, got into the business school in Calgary, started doing the executive one, so in the evenings. And then, of course, I landscaped out of the back of my Hyundai Santa Fe for folks, and that paid my way through that. Thought as soon as I got out of that again, leave the industry. Now I've got an MBA, some home builder, something's going to hire me for a lot more. Again, starting wages were way lower. Reached out to a landscape company that had a job up for a coordinator, said, I'm not at all interested in this job, but here's my resume if you have anything else. And ended up running their turf installs and supplies for all of Western Canada. Did that for quite a while. And then Tyler, my owner, reached out to me and just said, hey, if you're ever interested in leaving and doing something else, hit me up. And I was, and here I am. I've tried to leave probably 6 separate times, and now I've just come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to be able to.
I was going to say, it sounds like you've had to accept that the green industry loves you, whether you want to be here or not.
I think it's important to highlight the fact that the green industry pays more than everywhere else, and it offers more time off. That's definitely not the verbiage that normally gets said. So let's just really highlight that for everyone here. That's the industry. It pulls you back in.
Oh, it pulls you back in so hard. And once you get really good at something, it's hard to, for me, I always wanted to leave because I was consistently doing the stuff that was physically in front of me. So I was constantly laying every brick, and I'm hyper ADHD. So I'm not good at not having my hands moving. So if I'm on site and there's bricks to move, I'm going to move every one of those, and nobody else is. They can try to touch them, but I'm going to still move twice as many. And so I'd hurt myself doing it. And that's why I wanted to get out of it. And then eventually someone gives you a break from the tools, which for everybody takes a long, long time. If you're good at working with your hands, it's going to be hard to get out of that role at a company. But eventually got the opportunity, was really good at the office work. And that's been my thing ever since.
Well, definitely not your standard conversation, because usually when people want to leave, they usually are a bit more successful at it. But I'm glad that you stayed in. It's so important to have experts and people with experience in different facets, and I think that probably helps make you an invaluable asset to whatever company you're working with now or in the future. What part of the green industry did you initially fall in love with through your attempts to leave? What grabbed your heart?
So for me, it all started with hardscaping. I loved doing really complicated patios, loved cutting things in. I really like puzzles. So if you put me in front of a 1,000-piece puzzle at Christmas with my in-laws, I will not leave that table for most of the weekend. It will be done in a day and a half sort of thing. Which is exactly what a patio is and exactly what a water feature is. So eventually got into those pretty hard too. Alec and I's mutual friend Leighton, he and I worked together a lot at Jansen Group there, just doing hardscape, water features, those sorts of things. And yeah, I used to think that my ability to just jump in and get your hands dirty and start just laying stuff down, picking things up, getting them where they need to be, was kind of a superpower for this industry. And then eventually I got diagnosed with hardcore ADHD when I started going into accounting, and was like, okay, this makes more sense now. And I think most owners that I've ever dealt with of like large landscaping companies in this industry have some level of that. It seems like it lends itself really well to that personality type.
I've also come to that conclusion, Keith, and it would be hilarious and interesting to have like a psychologist at a green industry like conference or show. And I
hand out diagnosis.
But it is. And actually, there's a study or an article that I read, and most CEOs of really big companies also have ADHD because they don't necessarily have the attention span or want to see it all the way through. They come up with really great ideas. They pass the ball. Next person needs to take it and run with it. And they move on to the next one, right? Like their interest is like right at the beginning, get it done and move on.
Great at starting things.
Yeah. Finishing is not necessarily the strength of many.
Yeah.
But starting, I have a friend that also has ADHD, and she was like, we need to start like a hobby group where like when you jump in, because with someone with ADHD, you jump in, you go hard right off the bat, buy all the things, do it for like however many weeks or a couple months, and then you've moved on to the next thing that's interesting to you. And she's like, I have so many projects or tools or things from like different hobbies that I was so passionate for like 2 months, and then I've moved on to the next thing. And she's like, I just need space. And she's like, I'm not even trying to sell. I just want to like move it so that I have room for the next activity that I fall for.
Yeah, I've been posting a lot of stuff on. Oh yeah, that'd be great. Well, my wife's in the next room. She is a psychologist, so she might attend. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. How would you say that you've kind of evolved? Like you've had a lot of different career opportunities within the green industry. How have you personally evolved?
Yeah, personally, I've definitely mellowed out a lot.
He got a diagnosis.
Yeah. Getting on medication helped immensely, for sure. But you kind of start to realize that when your customers are coming to you, sometimes it feels like there's a fire, like they're freaking out about it. It needs to be dealt with right now. Being mellow and calm just tends to set them at ease. What we do isn't heart surgery or anything. It can always be fixed. So being able to just reassure them, hey, it's not a big deal. We can take care of this. We can fix it all. And they usually respond really well to that. Things are always going to go wrong. Like even on the supply side, I've definitely screwed things up in major ways, but just telling them, hey, I'm going to take care of it and you're not going to have to worry about it. It really, really helps in just being able to communicate that you'll fix it and it's your fault. Just taking responsibility and being able to move on.
Well, that's great
Very
wisdom.
healthy.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go, Keith. You have the unique experience, like we kind of talked about before, being on the field side and the install side. I mean, you kind of spoke to it a little bit, but how does that help you in your day-to-day now as being the general manager of like a supply center?
It helps because you've done everything. So somebody comes in and has a very specific question on some random niche product. I've probably worked with it at some point personally or dealt with a company that has worked with it and gotten their take on it. It gives you an appreciation for what your customers are dealing with in just a day-to-day basis and the tight timelines and stress that comes with that. And burnout is a big one for sure. We all dealt with that in December in Edmonton, at least. I don't know about Calgary, but it was wild out here. And again, just when something goes wrong, knowing how to fix it and how to tell them you're going to handle it and how to handle it in general.
Yeah, I can definitely say from experience, we've bought a few things from you guys and yeah, any hardscape questions that's not my forte, so to speak. It's nice being able to talk to someone that's done it before and be like, okay, but like how much do I actually need to buy?
Yeah. How much waste should I prepare for this?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And yeah, no, even just being like, okay, then how do I do it?
Yeah, fair.
And also to even know that like, hey, there's products that are good, but maybe not great in a certain application, right? And having someone that's been on that install side, the pros and the cons of that and the limitations that, because a lot of people are just, and I think landscape architects are in that it looks really good, but yeah, it might not be the best application.
And just the mistakes in the same way. Like I've made so many mistakes, and when someone explains what they're about to do because they saw it from some YouTube video in California, I saw that too. That does not work here. That is not. You need to stop doing that. Like using nailer board for turf in Alberta, that's going to kick right up. It's going to cause problems in the future. It's what they do in California, but it's because they have no frost heaving.
See, and there's some practical experience right there.
Yeah, I've done it so many times. And we put it in and then we've had to take it out. So you don't want to do that. It is very costly.
So you guys also, not just a supply center, but you also provide some maintenance services, including snow. Have you guys did that right off the hop, or did that kind of diversify as companies evolve?
So we don't actually do the snow ourselves. We just give our employees, like our truck drivers and extra operators, to other companies typically because it's the only way we can support them over winter. Yeah, it's just kind of something that needs to happen. Otherwise, we do not maintain those employees, and you just don't want turnover because it's so expensive. So we deal with companies that need extra employees for winter exclusively, and we cover their wages when they're not working, and it just kind of allows us to keep people on board all year round. And then on the grass maintenance side, I do help a couple companies who are using our Greenworks commercial stuff to gain some contracts. I've helped write some tenders and stuff because that is part of a old job I had, was writing RFQs and whatnot. So yeah, just can get into that and trying to prove at a use case that electric will help you get contracts. And so far that's going pretty good.
Greenworks distributor, supplier. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Like, how do you see that kind of changing the industry, especially, in the prairies? You see it a little bit more in Toronto and Vancouver, these milder climates that are taking over. And I think Toronto was looking at like noise bylaws and stuff too. So gas powered equipment just isn't going to be as useful. Yeah. How do you see that kind of taking over the prairie industry? How have you guys seen it?
So initially what I thought would take over completely that did not ever come to fruition was backpack blowers. As soon as I heard about those, God, even at that price, if they can get a more powerful backpack blower that will not crap out on you in the winter. It's not going to flood. You're not going to have to worry about you guys mixing the oil a little too rich. That would just take over entirely. Because when I worked at another company where we had like 120 sidewalk guys going out every day, we had just a graveyard, couple 100 square feet of just backpack blowers that were sitting waiting for service. So if he could get rid of that just by switching to electric, which never needs any service, that would just take over. Tried it, did not function in winter. It's just that the temperatures aren't quite there yet. They're moving in that direction where it might be in the future, but it wasn't last year. That's when we tried it. But what I have been seeing take over is the larger mowers. Those guys are really taking off. Some of our companies that are using those have switched to it all exclusively. One residential company's kind of adopted it in a big way, and then large commercial companies adopted it in a very large way, and they're getting a lot of big contracts because of it, just because they win the ESG side of every bid.
Yeah, it's fair. I would also love to see electric backpack blowers. I mean, just hearing that noise for 8 hours drives me crazy by the end of it too. So have something a little bit quieter would be awesome. So hopefully we can get there one day.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting
yeah.
in Europe, that's like battery powered equipment is such a popular thing now, and it keeps going, and it feels like it's a little slower to get uptake here in North America.
We love oil here, so it's hard to
No.
away from that.
Well, actually, in the fall, I demoed or rented basically an electric cutoff saw from Keith, actually, for paving stone. And it was so weird using it for the first time because, of course, I've been used to the steel ones or equivalent EC or whatever, and using it for the first time, like, it's so quiet. Like, all you can hear is the blade spinning. I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Like,
But
is this on?
it was great. Yeah. Well, yeah, I just slapped the battery and then pulled the trigger, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, yeah, it was quiet, but
yeah, same thing on that one is the power brooms. Those are a brand new one, but for turf, just having, again, had a bunch of crews doing turf, those still power brooms constantly flood because when you're in a corner against a fence, you have to flip it over to get your fibers going the right direction. So these new electric ones, you can flip it over. They're just as powerful. They're super quiet. No hearing protection needed. It's all such a low decibel that you don't need anything over your ears. Even the big mowers, you don't need to. You can be riding a 6-foot mower for 11 hours a day with your phone here playing music and able to hear it, talk to people beside you. It's different ballgame.
I know that because it's usually the first question that people ask is just the power, like the battery supply of that. Like, I don't know if you've had the conversation with these bigger contractors, but how do they support a fleet of, do they just roll around with trailers of batteries? Like,
some have, there's these new EPO chargers. So it's a battery charger for your smaller stuff that sits right on your larger mower, and it just charges off the larger mower with the smaller batteries for your trimmers. Benefit of that is the mower, these things go insanely fast because they're Teslas, but they're mowers now. So somebody on site that's, say you guys are doing your Uline one that you won that big award for, someone's the biggest award. Yeah. If someone's doing trimming a tree over there and they just call the foreman and say, hey, need a new battery, you just rip over there, they pull out of the box, put it in. Nobody's walking back to the trailer anymore, taking a 20-minute break while they put some extra gas in their trimmer. It is something that people don't consider, but mathematically that saves a ton of money for a company, is that little walk back, and it's
definitely
a game changer. And actually we just witnessed the autonomous ones that are coming out brand new pretty soon. So you just do your perimeter, then you hit a button and it'll do everything inside. It'll stop if someone gets in the way. So you're kind of turning it into a one-person site by that time.
Yeah, we've actually looked at those a couple of times ourselves, and it was just the initial cost that kind of scared us away. But the bigger mowers charge smaller batteries, but then obviously the bigger mowers have their own battery pack, and then those just have, obviously they're bigger, so they have a larger capacity and runtime and stuff. Or they charge them every day pretty much?
Some companies charge them every day. Some you don't even need to. The bigger mowers, like the 6 foot, once you get into 24 kilowatt battery, you're looking at like an 8 hour runtime. A lot of companies come in, they say, oh, it's never going to work. We work too long days. We work 10-hour days. They're in a trailer for half the time, driving site to site. Never are you actually running a mower for 8 hours. And on the electric, it's 8 hours of pure, you're running the blade time. Like if it's just on, doesn't affect anything. It's not eating battery. It's when you stop, you stop. When you stop on a gas, you're still running the engine. You're still using up fuel. And we did the math for a company, and just switching to the electric on like the 5-year 0% financing, it ended up at the same cost of just what you'd use on fuel for that unit.
Jeez.
Yeah. So mathematically, it makes a ton of sense, but it is really hard to get people over the sticker cost, although they are doing that. Like right now, I think they're taking about $10,000 off some of them for their 10-year anniversary. So some companies have started to look more into it. The city got into some of it in a small way last year. So,
well, there you go. Heard it here first. Well, Futures Electric.
Yeah.
Switching gears a little bit, is there a common misconception or misunderstanding of supply centers that you guys deal with all the time that just drives you up the wall?
Common misconception is consistently, especially homeowners will come in and try to haggle with you. They'll just try to, well, I'd like to pay this price, and how about you just take off the GST? We're still a business. We're going to get audited. I can't just take off we have to pay GST. That's an insane assumption right there. And I'd say that's probably the worst one, but that happens constantly. It's just, I don't know why people think it's different than coming into Walmart. We have tracking inventory systems. We have to report everything to the government. It's the exact same as going to Walmart. Yeah, it's a smaller group of people moving more material, but same setup. It's the same systems, and everybody just thinks, oh, well, I can just pay them whatever I want, and maybe I don't have to pay taxes.
But I think that's actually extends to the green industry, because we have people that do that. My family owns and operates a nursery of 500 acres. The amount of times people try and haggle on plant material and trees, it's just, there's a certain level of disrespect in the sense of there's not a value for what you're growing. And I would say this industry that they're it's not a legitimate industry, yeah. Which we all know it's false. But yeah, the amount, we have the same thing where people are oh, that's so much for a tree. It's just a tree. Okay, yeah. Well, we grow it and we touch it several times a year, and we water it and we fertilize it. And when you break it down of how many times we touch that that tree every single year, and that's in our field for anywhere from 3 to 8 years, depending on the variety, you're no, it's a business. I wouldn't come into whatever business you're in, whether it's accounting or if you're a hospital or education, being well, actually, I want you to do that. It just doesn't make sense. I can't believe they do it at a supply center. I just thought it was nursery growers that got that experience.
We get it so bad, people will come in and be how am I supposed to pay $135 for limestone per yard? That's way too high. This costs you nothing. What do you mean? We have to get it from the Rocky Mountains. It's super far away. And then we have to touch it multiple times, load it for you. And then they're saying, well, why do you have to charge $110 for delivery? You're just driving it to my place over there. Do you understand labor burden? Do you understand any of these costs of fuel? The truck it's going in is $170,000 to $250,000 here. You're not really taking into consideration all the costs that went into this.
Keith could do a 1 hour Welcome to Business 101.
I think the speech is starting to leak out here a little bit. The tried and true. So it's definitely part of the training at Edmonton Landscape Center to haggling not an option. And here's your script to avoid the conversations.
And I love haggling. When I go to Mexico, I haggle on random stuff. I don't even plan to buy that. I will now that you've gotten me to a ridiculously low price, though.
And that's the opposite. That's just respect to have a good haggling experience.
Yeah, and then to buy it after, be okay, I didn't want this in the first place, but now that we've gotten to this price, I don't even smoke, but I will take these Cuban cigars, absolutely.
I'm picturing Keith with all of his little tequila shot glasses. He had no intention of buying.
That 10
There's a ton
cents here and
downstairs.
15 cents there. Just the game just sucks you in.
Yeah.
So artificial turf can be a little bit of a not controversial topic, but it's pretty divided on whether you're for or against it. Haven't met very many people that are on the fence about it. Obviously, you've worked with it a good amount. You've sold it, you've installed it. What are your, I guess, takes on it and how it impacts the industry, and if you think that it, is what it's supposed to be?
I think it is whatever you want it to be. Like, if you want to go low maintenance, then do it. It's totally up to you. But there's certain things you can do in your yard that you can never do with real grass. Like, you cannot put in a Jack Nicklaus green in your backyard with real grass and keep that up for any reasonable amount of money, because just the mower you're going to have to buy is tens of thousands of dollars, and you're going to have to do that daily, probably trim it down. I've never worked at a golf course. I think you have, Alec, but I don't know how often they have to trim those greens, but I assume it's constant. How are you going to do that in your backyard?
Every morning.
Yeah, it's way too often. But if you want to put in like a 9-stem putting green in your backyard, you can with artificial turf. You can put in breaks. You can do everything, and you can do it relatively affordably. It's going to be expensive, but it's not going to be as expensive as buying that mower and doing it every single day.
So what I'm hearing is you're pro certain application, because it's interesting. We just had this topic at the tree symposium that Landscape Alberta hosts annually. Little plug in for there. Alec did not come to this year's symposium. I know, he missing in action. But one of our sessions that we hosted as growers was kind of like Mythbusters. And I'm sure you've heard of the water crisis in Calgary. Mm-hmm. And some of the rumblings have been like trying to push artificial turf instead of green infrastructure. And it feels like one of those doing a knee-jerk reaction and going to the extreme of like doing all rock mulch, doing all artificial turf, planting nothing green and nothing living is not exactly probably the best for the environment. And maybe it's like Goldilocks somewhere in the middle that would make the most sense, because we pulled up studies, and especially on big sports fields, when artificial turf is used and lives its life cycle, that's like 40,000 pounds of plastic that goes to the dump. So there's like also this environmental piece that sometimes doesn't get brought into the conversation as well.
Most companies they'll take it back now. If you're sending it to the dump, that's just a bad contract. They didn't look into it. Like Southwest Greens will take it back. They recycle it into the stuff that goes under the sports field for fall protection.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so a lot of the companies have switched to that I know of, at least the ones that are based in North America.
And then what about like the heat? Like, is that a concern? Because I know definitely in the States where it gets a little hotter, the amount of heat that comes off of artificial turf is a lot. Versus, where when you have natural turf, you have water vapor that gets released, and so that helps cool your area.
Yeah, I'm no Scientologist, so I'm not 100% sure on that one. But I know you can use products like Opticool and stuff that'll keep it cool to the touch. I don't know how that would factor into the environment in any way, so it's not really something I can safely speak to without sounding like an idiot. So
that's going to be Keith's next adventure in the green industry, is that piece.
Fair.
Becoming a Scientologist in the green industry.
Hey, I tried. I went to the place in Vancouver. I just wanted to get some information, and they shut me right down. I was just interested. It seems to be a great religion for short men to be in. So,
and then you'd be haggling over the initiation price.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, 2 weeks down the road, you get an email, and then you remember. I know you actually. I'm going to change one of our questions here into a 2-part one. My first question was going to be, what was the most underrated material that you kind of see, or that you'd like to see more in residential landscape or any kind of landscaping? And then part B would be, what's the product that you hate but sells all the time?
Yeah. So something that I think is underused is a product called Midnight Majestic right now. I don't know if you guys have touched that at all. I don't know if you have it in Calgary at all. It looks identical to Rundle for us, and it is like $85 a yard cheaper. It's just every commercial bid still wants to use Rundle, and you just look at it and you're like, hey, I know you're hearing the Rundle price and it sounds really expensive, but there's this other one that comes from right by there, looks identical. It's drastically cheaper. Can we price that out instead? Sometimes architects go for it. A lot of the time they don't. But when they do, they end up saving 40-ish%. It's hard to beat on that end, I'd say. And then for the most overused, it's the same product, but in sparkling white. It's the sparkling white dolomite. I don't know if you guys do deal with that, but it is so ugly in person. It gets so dirty. Everybody wonders why we don't carry it. And it's like, well, we put it in the bin and then some dust blows onto it and everybody thinks it looks dirty and gross. So we have to wash it down every day. And it's like $500 a yard. Why are you buying this? I just think it's a product that doesn't work in person. It's too expensive and it just looks ugly and tacky.
Yeah, no kidding for mowing your lawn every day for putting green, but now you got to wash your rock every day to make sure it glistens the right way.
Every single day. Yeah, that stuff just gets so dirty. I've got so much of it on my street, and every time I go past them, it just looks terrible.
Knock on the door and ask them to water their rock, please.
So I hate looking at this. I hate looking at your weirdly whitish gray rock. Why didn't you just get limestone if you wanted gray rock?
Oh, yeah. What was it? Midnight. What was the first one you talked about, sorry?
It's called Midnight Majestic. It's a dolomite product. So again,
Midnight Majestic.
Yeah, they rebranded it. Originally, it was just black dolomite, and they rebranded last year just to try to give it classier sound.
Some pop.
Yeah.
We had a job once, it was residential, and the lady wanted white sparkle and purple sparkle mixed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm going to need you to sign off on that before, because once I mix this, we can't keep it.
Yeah, to mix 2 yards to get $1,000.
Yeah, it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
Alec, of course you had to ask that question, hey?
I do.
Yeah.
Now I'm just going to get stuck on Midnight Majestic. Midnight Majestic.
I feel a little bit more validated, to be honest, because white sparkle is also not one of my favorites. And so it's validating that the supply center guy also doesn't love it. Like, I feel like my dislike is validated right now. So I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, like it's nice to have that bill when you're sending something out for $500 a cubic yard. It's nice to put that in the computer. Our staff feels good about doing it because they're like, oh, I just had this big sale. But at the same time, I just feel like every time they're overpaying for something, I don't like to see someone leave overpaying. We want them to leave happy and feel like they didn't get screwed over.
Completely fair. As the customer, I also like leaving happy and not like I'm paying too much.
Yeah.
What can the industry do a better job of for attracting young people? Because like your story, you started at the ripe age of a teenager as a high school student, just trying to pay for stuff. But how do we attract people outside of that stream?
I think we have people coming in all the time. We just don't keep them. And I think what we're doing a bad job of is letting people off the tools, just giving them a chance to break into a different part. Like we have guys who will come in and work for the summer and they're going off to business school the year and they want to find a job in business and they never think to just inquire if they can stick around and learn that side of the company from a guy like me. And I'd be happy to teach them most of the time and see if we can keep around. If they can't, they could go to a different place, get a job there. It's just nobody thinks of it as a industry they can stay in for their whole life because we don't really give them the chance to learn the other side of it, I feel like.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's amazing how many people are surprised that you can make a career out of this, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any future goals for the Landscape Center?
Yeah, pretty simple ones that have been consistent the whole time I've been there. Just want, again, every customer to leave our office or leave every transaction feeling like they did not get screwed over and leave feeling better than when they went in and like they got an honest response. We've roughly tripled in size in like the past 3 years since I've joined the company. It's come with like huge learning curves and growing pains. But ultimately, I just want both of our employees and our customers to leave happier and for our employees to actually want to come to work every day.
Yeah, good. It's a good goal.
Yeah, it's a hopeful goal.
That's good business. Don't screw over customers and hope people that work there want to still work there tomorrow.
Yeah, it's an easy goal, but that is kind of what your job is as a general manager and management, is just make sure the people you manage like that you manage them.
Absolutely. So on that kind of same thread, if you were to do it all over again, is there advice that you'd give yourself getting into the green industry and, starting at square zero?
Yeah, so when I first read that question beforehand, I really thought about it and thought we should probably just lean in, because maybe you'd not spend so much time racking your head against the wall and trying to figure out how to break out of the industry. But at the same time, I don't think I would have went back to school. I don't think I'd be exactly where I am if I did that. So I don't have any advice for myself. I would make myself do it the same way all over again. It's been a great industry to me and my family. We have a great life. It's hard to consider doing it a different way. If I did lean in more, I might be in the field for the rest of my life and never have went back to school. So I do think it was and I never would have got diagnosed with ADHD and started to get medicated, which has fixed a lot of relationships in my life. I'd say I'm a much better communicator now and have went to therapy and whatnot, and done better with a lot of relationships because of all that time racking your head against a wall trying to get out. So I don't think I would change a single thing.
What about instead of a Santa Fe, would you choose a different vehicle?
Again, at one point I would have when the engine exploded. When the engine absolutely exploded on us a year into getting it, that sucked. But then they replaced the engine for me. So it's at 300,000 kilometers, but on that engine is like 90,000. So gonna drive that thing in the ground is a great purchase.
Perfect. I love that you hold fast to everything there.
That's awesome. Alec is going to ask you the question from our last host or last guest. So just in terms of connection, we love to ask our guests a question for the next guest. They don't know who we're going to interview or what part of the industry they're from. And yeah, our last guest, Alex, had this question for you.
Yeah, it was basically, we were having a pretty good conversation surrounding burnout. Like you said, in December, obviously, was the trials and tribulations a little bit. So his question that he wanted to pose to the next guest was, how do you reset? How do you kind of breathe new life or your old life back into your body a little bit after some of these, like you said, this industry can be a little wear and tear on the body and the mind too. So is there a tried and true method you do, like haggle for shot glasses in Mexico, or?
That's a good one. Yeah, it is good to get away. It's good to spend some time with your family, get your mind off of work. I've had to start, like I used to keep my work phone by my bed, and now it does not come upstairs with me. It stays downstairs. It's hard sometimes to tell it to customers who say, no, it's if you contact me past like 8 o'clock, I'm probably not going to answer that. But a big one is just, for me, staying active. I've tried the meditation and stuff. I have the watch that tells me I'm constantly too stressed, but I don't think it understands that I just run at a higher stress, I think, than most people. Because of your ADHD, you're constantly in kind of fight or flight mode. And for me, it's, just getting out and doing some exercise. We do lots of yoga. That helps. Meditation, I was never able to actually calm down and just clear my mind. So I just go for a run. That helps. And go to the gym, hang out with the wife, just try to not focus on work quite as much. I struggle with that all the time, so I can't say it works all the time at all. I definitely wake up at 4 a.m. feeling like I forgot to do something all the time. So yeah, it's a constant struggle.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like you said, a lot of those I battle with every day. Unfortunately, I do sleep with my phone during the winter, which sucks. But yeah, it's a journey, right? Like everyone continually battles with it. It's never going to be a fix, but as long as you keep working, that's kind of the mantra, right?
Well, doubles for you because you have a baby. So you got it.
Yeah.
You got a baby and a kid constantly waking you up, or a baby and a phone constantly waking you up every night.
Yeah, and you're not talking about some of the clients I manage too with them. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not a good system, just doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard.
Stuff sucks.
You know
Yeah.
what is kind of cool about our industry and is that we do have like a start, a middle, and an end. And like as someone who really thrives in athletics and those kind of things, like it's always exciting to have like a fresh season where you're like, hey, we're gonna have new goals. We're gonna, when you crack open your new agenda. I don't know if you guys feel about that, but it's always a good feeling where you can kind of have like this fresh start where not every industry has that opportunity to have a purposeful, meaningful start where you can set goals or just feel like, hey, I'm going to use my lessons learned and what's going to be different this season. How am I going to try and be different? So yeah, it's a work in progress, but it is kind of nice that you're like, hey, I can leave last season in 2025 and let's see what I can learn from it and move forward this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Question for you. What would be your question for the next person? You don't know who they are, what part of industry. It can be an industry related question. It can be a goofy, random question, or it can be like a really insightful, psychological question. It's up to you. You get to ask the question to the next guest.
So yeah, one that I thought of after you guys asked me this one is just looking ahead, like what do you see the biggest potential change in the industry being? Is AI going to come in and replace every maintenance company? What's going to be kind of the next thing that shakes things up for us?
Well, I really like that question, and I really want it to be robots because we're in our hiring season right now. So I'm like, robots. That sounds sweet.
Have you guys seen these new like exoskeletons you can wear that
Yeah.
with the wear and tear in your body? I really want to try one of those out.
Yeah, but I don't think it's meant for you, Keith, because if you're already like laying twice as many bricks as everybody else, like I just feel like you're
That's
going to
the
be like,
problem.
That's an
Yeah.
unfair dread.
Yeah.
well, then Keith is
I think I need something that'll keep me from forgetting to have perfect posture while I'm lifting and stuff. Like something that'll take that wear and tear off. If it could just make it so you have no wear and tear at the end of the day, or take out half the lifting, that'd be huge.
But are you the kind of person that would let it, like, I feel like you might be you would push the envelope. You're like, okay, well, now I can do triple the amount of things. Let's see if I could do quadruple the amount of things because I have, yeah, you would be that guy.
That's the point of it. That's why I want to try it.
So he's still going to have wear and tear on his body because he maxes this thing out.
Yeah, except
But he'll be
I don't
3
know if I
times as
could
efficient.
anymore. Yeah. I haven't been in the field in quite a long time at this point. Like I'll still go back on occasion and help shovel in the yard or quickly jump in or put up a display at the office, but very rarely am I actually doing landscaping for a full day unless I'm at home.
And you're washing off that
Very
white
well.
rock, right?
Yeah, that is never going anywhere near my yard.
Well, there you go. Maybe there'll be an exoskeleton company listening to this one day, and if so, I think there would be some happy demos available in Edmonton.
Edmonton Landscape Center, we will definitely demo them out.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. I do want to try them too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Keith, for joining us today. It's been an awesome conversation and definitely a few surprises as we always like to see. So yeah, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, that was a great conversation with our friend Keith. We're in a part of the industry that I think probably gets overlooked more than most because
Yeah, definitely.
they're supplying, they don't get seen on site, maybe unless they're delivering, but I'm sure that they're very much kind of an othered, similar to like when you put on a play, right? Like stage design and costumes, like those people that make that happen, they don't get a lot of recognition because they're not front facing. And I kind of feel like that's equivalent to the supply center. So I'm really glad that you suggested bringing that perspective onto the show. And he has so much knowledge from all of his different experiences. And I love how he's tried to leave the industry how many times over
7, he said. Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's wild to me. And I love the fact that he said, and I'm glad that you brought that point up, that the green industry like paid more and had more of a
It's honestly shocking. Like, obviously, I plugged it in because I'm like, green industry. But yeah, power to the green.
you're like, let's highlight this moment. Stop, frame it, put a neon sign on
Yeah,
it.
please. I actually think I'm going to clip this and show this to all of my employees now.
loop
But
at
it was honestly
just
well, we actually put a TV downstairs because we're going to be displaying schedules and stuff a little bit more visibly. So maybe we'll just throw it on there.
you were gonna say it. You guys put TVs in so you can run the podcast throughout the season.
Oh no! Oh yeah! Let's get View Farm.
And I was like, Alec, don't show what? No, you get them to look at it so it's multiple streams. Come on.
Idiot. What was I gonna say now? Jeez,
Sorry.
really distracted me there. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I was actually surprised that it paid better, and then he said there was more time off, and I was like, that really doesn't gel with my familiarity with the industry. Like, that's not a typical thing people say is how much time off they get.
Yeah, but I think it's so cool because I have experienced at supply centers when you're working with someone who it's a summer job, right? And who have never used that product. And man, it is like, even if you want to pay a little bit more to have that expertise, like I think it's worth it. And having the pros and cons, because nothing is worse than finishing a job and then, a year, maybe even less, like the product's not standing up because it's not really the application. And even if you can go back to the literature and say it's not, you as a contractor don't look good. The product doesn't look good. The customer's not happy. Like it's a lose-lose situation for everyone. And so if you have someone like Keith who can say, hey, well, actually, I've installed this firsthand. Don't do it this way. We have frost or whatever. Like, man, that's so valuable to bring to the industry. So it's cool that he has had quite the journey through the green industry.
Definitely. And maybe because I know you guys do a little bit more residential, like we don't typically reach out to supply centers because we go to the source all the time. Like we buy right from quarries and stuff like that. Most of our like initial like reaching out to Keith, obviously Leighton, one of our estimators and project managers, worked with him, but it was when we could no longer buy direct like paving stone and stuff from the manufacturers like Expocrete and Belgard, because they were only working with supply centers. You couldn't buy direct from them anymore. And then yeah, obviously talking to Keith, like you said, it's so I don't have to go price search and I don't have to research and stuff like that. I just be like, hey man, what do you think about this?
Oh, talk to me.
Yeah, and answers. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, bro, yeah, it's so nice just to be able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, I need 600 meters of edger. Can you help?
But I think, okay, this is going to go down.
Because I don't know anyone in Vietnam.
No, but I think that's like having the ability to pick up the phone and having that network, that is invaluable, right? And I think in order for you to do that, you have to stay in an industry for a while. Like that doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. And so that's why, like when people, I don't know, I'm very much in my hiring era right now because that's all I'm doing. But, when you look at people and they're only at places for a year or 2 years, do you really have that opportunity to build those networks, to build those skills? And man, there's so many things that you learn within one landscape season, right? And
it's crazy. Yeah.
How do you learn?
Or you hope they learn.
Well, yeah. But also you're kind of at the beck and call of whatever project you're working on that gives you those skills, because you might not have a project that has artificial turf, right? Or a certain type of paving system or soil cells like I phoned you for about. And so to have someone that you can phone and be like, hey, talk to me about this. This is new to us, or we're not familiar with it. Like, yeah, that's huge.
It's been weird, like in my career, I guess. Like obviously you work somewhere, so you want to do a good job for your employer, or if you own a company, you want to do a good job for yourself. But it is crazy. The network that you create sometimes is through the company, obviously, because somebody like Ron and Jeff have known them for 40 years, and all of a sudden I'm the face of the person that that they're talking to now because they're doing other things. But sometimes it's just your own personal network. Like, yeah, and you work with a site superintendent for a concrete company, and all of a sudden you're calling him for concrete questions all the time, and then you just develop relationships that way. Like it's something that I found, and yeah, obviously way off topic from a landscape supply center. Sorry, listeners. But just developing your own network for your own career and yourself is like you get that. You do a good job, obviously, for the company you work for, but then you do it for yourself because other people see that too, and then they want to talk to you, and then they give you those good prices or that knowledge that you don't necessarily just get by doing the letter of your job and moving on to the next one.
And that's also just like value added to what you bring to your job, right? Like it's hard to put that in a resume, but that's huge. And so, you know, when you do bounce around, yeah, like, do you get that opportunity? And I'm saying bounce around like in a very short amount of time. I'm not saying like take one job, never move on from it. Although that is currently my situation, as I started at 14 in a family business, have not moved on from it. But yeah, like, it's amazing how little people will jump to another industry completely for like less than $1 more, right? And I get that money's important and you need food and shelter, and like, I get that. But yeah, like, even just having that conversation with that employer first to say, hey, like, I have this opportunity. Is there something that is there growth within our company? So many people don't have that conversation, and because they don't think that green industry is a career, which shocking. I don't understand how we got that reputation.
I mean, again, that's just because you see people working with their hands for forever. I think that's the traditional sense of what a career shouldn't be, right? But then all trades are becoming more and more of like a prevalent career path for people. Like, working with your hands and stuff is obviously just as important as going to school and getting a degree and, fulfilling a role for an organization where it's more of like a traditional 9-to-5 desk job.
And look at, like, Keith probably isn't or wouldn't be the general manager to the same level if he didn't have that firsthand experience on all those installations with that product. Like, the fact that he can have personal experience on most of it, that's amazing for the knowledge that you bring, right? And so, like, you have to start somewhere. And I think sometimes we get a little concerned that that's going to be our entire future, but you have to start on the tools. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, you're going to sweat. Yes, you're going to be sore some days, and there are going to be some long days, but that just is another tool in your toolbox to keep in your career journey.
Yeah, and you have no idea at the beginning what that skill or that you have will serve you later on in a total abstract way. Like, yes, for whatever 8 years he spent installing it, hated it by the end of it, but now he can tell people to do it, and that's how he gets business.
And once you have that reputation that you can share that knowledge, people aren't going to go elsewhere. Like, that's value. Nope. So I really enjoyed our conversation with Keith, and just a totally different perspective.
I can now say what two of you, or the two of you, both are going to have in your resumes going forward. Hatred of white sparkle.
Yeah, I really bonded with them.
I forgot about that rock.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot it. I forgot about it because, again, it's not like anything we deal with ever.
When we got asked...
So just like the look on both of your faces as soon as you said white sparkle, I was like, oh, hot. This is hot. I should have asked this instead of the artificial turf.
That was wildly validating to be like, okay, even the guy who sells it doesn't love it. And yeah, when I had to mix purple and white, I was like, I just need you to put this in an email. Like, that my brain is not commuting that this is a mix you are going to like. But yep, loved it.
I hope they did.
Oh yeah, they did. And they loved it. And they got us to do more of it the following year. And yep.
Now you have a proprietary mixed design of white sparkle and purple sparkle rock. For all those people that may require that need, you know where to go.
I should have reached out to Elizabeth and asked if she would like a picture of that for an auction.
Her design class.
Yeah.
Definitely. You should.
I'm sure she'll...
I think that's highly... Talk about value added.
She will accept that with open arms.
I could see it. You just got to wear like a rock costume or something.
I don't have one made yet, so that'll have to be a winter project.
White sparkle. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening along today in this adventure, as always, as we go wildly off track and never stick to what we want to say, but that's the beauty of this podcast, I guess. Please remember to subscribe and like and download all of our episodes. Never miss an episode on YouTube and all the CNLA socials. And thanks for listening along.
If you would like to be a part of our show and contribute to who we should interview next or what perspective we should maybe explore, feel free to comment and we'll definitely check those out. So thanks for branching out.